Good morning. Time to make the coffee. So I woke up to a chilly 13 degrees this morning, but by 3 p.m. it's going to heat up into the 30s, and then next week it'll be in the 40s, and one day even in the 50s, low 50s. So that'll be good. Coffee today is maple walnut. Still trying to use up coffees that turned out not to be my favorite, but good anyway. So this morning I already did my budget. Gave myself a nice green check mark for yesterday, no spend. Last month I had 17 days of no spend. So that was good. I really like this way of tracking my spending. It seems to be working because if I want to buy something, I tell myself, you won't be getting a green check today. So that I think twice. I mean, if I really need it, I'll buy it. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I can hold off for a while. We'll see. So anyway, did some cooking yesterday. Made some zucchini and summer squash relish. I tasted it this morning and it's really good. So I know it's not the season for that, but if you have a garden this summer, you might want to give that a try because I'm surprised how good it is. It would be great on hamburgers or hot dogs, or even if you put it in a potato salad or pasta salad, it would be great. So try and use creative ways in using up your food. The squash and the, both squashes were in a flash food box that was just filled up with squashes and sweet potatoes and things like that. I gave a lot of it away to my son and my daughter, and the rest of it I wanted to make something out of. So I did, and it turned out really good. So I think I want to try and make something different today. I don't really have too much in the way of leftovers in the fridge, so I'm probably going to have to cook something. But that sloppy joe that was recreated out of the stuffed pepper was really good too yesterday. So think of creative ways to use up your leftovers, and you'll save a lot of money. All right, let me give my coffee a try. Cheers. Yes, that will do. That will do very well. Well, today I'm going to try and declutter something. I definitely don't want to go shopping. So I pretty much have everything that I need in the house as far as food goes. And unless one of my kids calls me and says, oh, you want to go out and have some lunch or breakfast, I won't be going anywhere. So anyway, if you're struggling to pay your bills, try making up a budget. I mean, it's not something that I've done over the years, but the last 3 years, I would say, since I bought the car, I've been trying to budget my money a little better, and not that I haven't gone off on a toot every now and then. I certainly have. But if I write it down, I'm less likely to do that. All right, I'm going to have my coffee and think about what I want to declutter today. And I'll be back in a little bit. So here's what I had for brunch today, using up what I have in the refrigerator and freezer. I had last 2 pieces of Walmart bread, some lunch meat I found in the freezer, and a piece of panettone bread from my mom. Morning. Let's have some coffee. We'll share a cup. Well, today I wanted to talk a little bit about aging, some of the pros, some of the cons. And yes, there are a lot of pros to aging. It's not all negative. So this is going to be a little bit different vlog. I'm going to post snippets of things as I think of them during the day. So if I look different now than I do later, I don't know, I might look the same. But I just wanted to share some ideas with you. And if you have any great ideas, leave us a comment below. I also wanted to mention our Facebook group. It's not just for ladies, it's for men and women and kids and whoever wants to join. It's Ellen's Abundant Life on Less, the group, and it's private. So if you want to join, I'll authorize your membership. All right. One of the main barriers, in my opinion, to happiness is your own expectations, not only of other people, but your own expectations of yourself. I think when we expect certain outcomes and we don't get those outcomes, we go into a tailspin and it's like, oh, nothing ever works out, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think we all need to be a little more open to other outcomes instead of what we expect, especially when it comes to other people. They're not on our agenda. You have your agenda, they have theirs. And even with ourselves, we expect this, we expect that, and then when we can't do it or won't do it, we become disappointed and we become sad about it. Well, if you don't have a lot of big expectations, that's not going to happen. You'll be able to embrace the things that come your way that are positive in a much better light. You can look at it from a different perspective than looking at it from the perspective of your expectations. Now, I've been working on that for years. I really try not to have a lot of expectations from other people. I'm a little kinder to other people with that than I am to myself, but all in all, you know, if I can't do something or don't want to do something, I try and be kind to myself and, you know, not beat myself up about it, because there's no point to that. You know, sometimes you're physically not able to do it, or you're not mentally in a place where you can do it at that time. That's not saying at another point in time you won't be able to do it, but just letting go of those expectations that we have for ourselves and other people can make for a much, much happier and peaceful and serene life. Now, most of us during our lifetimes, even when we're younger, this isn't just for older people, we have hobbies and things that we enjoy doing, and we get to a point where maybe we can't do them anymore. If you're younger, maybe it's time restrictions. You've had a family and things you used to do when before you had a family. It's not possible to fit those things in anymore. Or as you get older, maybe you're not physically able to do those things anymore. But I think maybe not totally giving up on some of the things we love to do is probably a good way to go. If you don't have the time for a hobby that you love, to just do it, in very small increments, so that you still get the satisfaction of doing it, even though you can't devote as much time to it as you could before your circumstances changed. Now for me, an example is my gardening. I can't garden in the ground anymore. It's too hard on my back. Getting up and down is a chore. It's like, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. But anyhow, so I've had to modify what I do in order to garden. Now it's taking me time to actually get things set up in a way that it works for me. I've tried to raise up all my low to the ground containers. I've put those up. I bought a bunch of tables, little plastic tables, like the side tables for outside. I bought a bunch of those at Mark's in order to get the things off the ground. Last year my garden was fine, but I was finding that I just had too many separate plants in the garden, and a lot of what I was growing just, I planted some watermelon and, things like that. Well, it didn't produce anything. So tweaking your hobbies or the things that you love to do to the time you have and the ability you have can make you very satisfied. And you don't want to totally feel like, geez, I have to give up everything. I can't do this or I can't do that. And let's say your mobility has gotten, worst case scenario, you can't walk anymore. You can still garden, you can still paint if that was your love, but you just need to modify your surroundings so that you're able to still do that, and enlist the help of family or community or friends that are still capable of helping you out. So totally not giving up on things that you love to do can keep you happy. Just tweak it a little bit. So a lot of us are decluttering, and that's not just for aging people that are trying to downsize, although I do think that's pretty much a necessary thing to do as you get older, because we don't want to live in a house that doesn't make us comfortable. We want to all live in a place. Doesn't have to be a house. It could be an apartment, a tiny house with your family. You could have a room in somebody else's house. But we all need to make our space comfortable and not feel like when you're in a room that it's like, oh my God, and you can't relax because all you do is look around and things are screaming for you to do something. So even if you're younger, keeping a hand on the things that we bring into our house and the things that we let go is really important. And while we're decluttering, I got the thought today of, wouldn't it be nice to make a scrapbook of your own life? From the time, if you have baby pictures of yourself, pictures of you with friends that maybe you don't see anymore or that have moved on to somewhere else, your life with your husband, your children, your family, and make the scrapbook just of your life. And that's something then when, if you're maybe feeling a little blue, you can pull that out and you can say, you know what, I have had an awesome life. My life has been great. Now, I know some of us, our lives aren't always real great, so you may not want to include that in your life book. We'll just call it a life book. But all the happy things that have gone on, and even people that don't have a real happy life, I'm sure have things that have happened to them that make them happy and make them smile. So including all those things in your life book and things that you can look back on that make you feel good, I think is an awesome idea. Another thing you can include in that maybe is if you have pictures of your parents and grandparents, make like a family tree. You can make small pictures and put it all on one page. I have pictures of my great grandparents as well as my great grandparents and my grandparents. So, one of these days when I'm not around anymore, I think that's something that your children or grandchildren might really appreciate all in one book. And if the book's this fat, that's even better. Or if a book is this fat, that's okay too. So, but I'm going to do that because we all declutter photographs, and I've just actually gone through that, but I didn't think about this when I was doing it. But I put a lot of photos in albums, and but it'll be easy to pull those things out and just put them in one book and make it pretty. Make it a really pretty book. Make it a project. It's something that you can do if you're bored and you don't have anything else to do. Another thing that I was thinking about doing, and I'm sure most of us, if we have a family or even if we're single, we have a book of our favorite, or we have our favorite family recipes. Now, if you're anything like me, I have a lot of DIY cookbooks. And my family isn't vegetarian or vegan. I mean, they all eat meat. I'm the only one. But so of course I wouldn't include those recipes. But when I was a younger woman and I had my family, I made, a really awesome lasagna. My ribs were really good too. Chili. My kids, those are recipes that my kids like and that they've eaten over the years. I try to incorporate those during the holidays. So just making up a cookbook of your family's favorite meals, and you can include a picture of yourself or whatever, but I think that would be an awesome thing to leave for your family when you're not around anymore. So a lot of us in these crazy times, I mean, this has been dragging on now for 2.5 years. We all have a lot of worries, and sometimes it's like a broken record that replays over and over and over again in your head. And some of us are more prone to that than others. I'm not a big worrywart, but occasionally I'll have things come up. We all do. And those thoughts will sneak in to my brain, and it's like then I start, you do the worst case scenario thing, and you head on down that path. Well, what I usually do, like if I can't sleep at night, let's say I worry about finances, or I worry about a home repair, or anything. It could be anything. I just tell myself, as soon as I start thinking about that, I tell myself, stop. And I actually say it. I don't just think it. I actually say stop. And if I have to do that 10 times, I'll do it 10 times. And then I tell myself, think about this pleasant thing. So I'll replace that negative worry thought with a pleasant thought. And it almost always works 100% of the time, where I'll just distract my mind from that. I don't let it replay and get deeper and deeper down into a hole of worrying. So that works for me. It might work for you. I know a lot of us, as we get older, we worry about our spouses. We worry about what's going to happen to us as we get older. You know, are we going to be able to take care of ourselves? Because we all want to do that as long as we can. I don't know of anybody that wants to be a burden to their family and pass it on to them. But, you know, there may come a time where that might happen. And, you know, most families will step up. Worst case scenario, we end up, you know, in a facility that will take care of us. So somebody will always be able to help you out if you reach out. Now, if you're a single person that doesn't have a family, don't worry about it, because, you know, I mean, worst case scenario, if you end up in a facility, you'll still be taken care of. It might not be ideal. It might not be how we visualize ourselves as we get older, but there are resources out there. So reach out to your community resources. You'll be surprised about what's available if you just reach out and do a little research. And if you can't do it, maybe one of your family members can, or you can reach out to your senior aging community and see what resources they have to get you help. So not to worry, most of us aren't going to end up on the street if we get ahead of it and make some plans about what we're going to do as we get older. And we have to be realistic about it. You know, I'm not going to sit here in my house and say, oh, I've got this room's all cluttered and that room's all cluttered and, you know, I can't do anything about it. I can still do something about it. So I'm going to work on it. And if you are in a situation where you've let it go too long, I'm trying to get ahead of this train that's coming down the tunnel, and I can see the headlight coming. So I'm trying to get ahead of that and get my house prepared while I'm still able and not let it go too long. So that's what I'm doing, and that actually gets rid of a lot of the worry and concern that you have. If you at least have a plan on what you're going to do. It's better to know than not know and just think, oh, I don't know, what am I going to do? You know, check out your options and pick a couple. You know, I can do this or I can do that. And then just having a plan ready-made will make you feel less worried. Now, if you're getting older and a lot of your friends are already gone and, you know, your families are busy. Now, for me, I've never been a super social person, you know, where I've constantly had to go out with friends and do things. As a matter of fact, that gets on my nerves after a while if I have too many things scheduled. But I do like to get together with friends once in a while, and if that's maybe once every 3 months, that's good enough for me. I have this YouTube group that I spend a lot of time communicating with, so that might be something that you could start. You could start a social media friendship with people You could check into that, and then you would feel less alone or less isolated. I know a lot of us as seniors start to isolate ourselves, and a little of that goes a long way. Sometimes I actually have to force myself to go out because I'm very comfortable here in my home. I love being here. I like hanging out with my dogs. I talk on the phone. I talk on the phone with my family. Even my best friend who lives right next door, we talk on the phone. We hardly, unless it's summertime, but in the winter we hardly see each other because we don't even want to walk out the door into the other person's door. So we talk on the phone. I have a couple friends that, I can talk to for hours. Same with my children. I see my daughter the most, but, I have a nice conversation with my boys. So it doesn't always have to be a physical interaction. It can be the phone. It can be an online thing. Now be careful with online. You don't want to give too much of your information. I mean, I know I do my real life here on this channel, but I'm not going to share my financial things with anybody other than my budget, but I'm not going to share those kinds of things. So just be careful. Don't be afraid of it, but be careful. And it's a good way to interact with people and not feel isolated. Now that's not why I do it. I do it because I think it's fun. I don't feel lonely and I don't feel isolated. I always have somebody I can reach out to. So, reach out to your friends. If you don't see them like face to face, give them a call on the phone. See what they're up to. They'll probably appreciate it too. And then once in a while, while you're on the phone, maybe you can schedule a meeting. So there are lots and lots of things that you can do to not feel so alone and isolated. If you're able to get out, you can join senior centers. They always have activities, painting, gardening. My friend next door, she asked me if I'd be interested in doing some yoga at one of the senior centers. So when I go have my taxes done and check into that, you might have a senior center that does it for free through ARP, which is what I do. But I'm going to check. The senior center I go to isn't actually in my city. It's like maybe 5 miles away. But I really like that senior center. Now I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to see what kind of activities they have. I won't do it in the winter because the weather's too iffy. But in the spring and summer when it's nice, I would totally be open to that. So, and some places will even have in your community, they'll have a bus that comes and picks you up. So, I don't know if they still have Meals on Wheels. I know my mother-in-law used to do Meals on Wheels. I think it was every Tuesday she and her sister would pick up the meals and then they'd drive around and deliver the meals to the seniors in their community. So, I mean, that's something that you could do. Volunteer at a shelter, whether that's for people or animals, anything like that. If you can't have a pet of your own, you can volunteer maybe to walk the dogs or play with the cats at a shelter. They're always welcome. Volunteer at a hospital. They always need people to transport patients in wheelchairs and things like that. Nursing homes, I think you can volunteer there, and maybe you have a service. Maybe you like to do art and you'd like to teach people how to do art. And in places like that, you don't even have to be a a really accomplished artist, because a lot of those people, they just want something to do. So there's lots and lots of things that you can do to get yourself out of your own head and out of your own space and make your senior years really wonderful and really happy. So work with what you have. That's all, it's like that old thing, that old saying, grow where you're planted. And I love that saying. So just look around and say, how can I improve this situation? What can I do to make me happy? And go with that. And then watch the expectations. Well, I don't do that. I just don't, because that would not be whatever your excuse is. But give it a try. What have you got to lose? All right, I just wanted to talk a little bit about getting older and being more positive about it. And I know as we get older, we all have our aches and pains and we can't do what we used to do, but let that guy go, or woman, let her go, wave goodbye and say, this is the new me. Hello, new me. And hello, future me. Embrace your life, embrace yourself. That's important. Okay, well, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to have some breakfast. I've got lots and lots of choices. I don't know what I'm in the mood for. But first, coffee. Well, I have this corner here. It's right where my office is. And I have these plant lights that I didn't quite know what to do with. And since my grandson upgraded the internet, now I have these that I have to find a home for. They have pots that go with them. So I thought, why not make this a plant corner? I have this little light here that I got from Amazon, I think it was last month, before I went on the no spend. So it's, I needed a light here because of my printer. Sometimes I get messages there. Well, anyway, I'm going off track. I bought these 3 shelves at Mark's, and I've had them for a long time. They were a great deal, 99 cents, and I bought 3 of them. And I thought, well, I don't know what to do with them, but, I'm sure I can think of something. So now I think they're going to come in handy, because these grow lights will fit on the shelves. So what I'm thinking of doing is either putting 2 here and 1 over here, or 3 here. I don't know yet which I'm going to do. So really, really cheap decorating, and I can do my little indoor garden, and I think it'll be nice. So, and Mr. Gnome here, I think I'm going to set him up here if I decide to put a shelf here. The thing is, I can't just randomly place them because it has this tall adjustable, I don't know what you'd call it. Well, it's a stand for the grow light. So anyway, I have to, if I put a light above it, I have to go up that high. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what I come up with, and I'll show it to you when I get it put up. Okay, well, I got this corner all done, and I got these shelves hung up here. There aren't any plants in here yet, but that's what I'm going to put in there, some plants. And hanging up these shelves was a real pain. But I got it done using what I have, and then I relocated these. They used to live in my dining room, but now I can enjoy them in my living room when I sit in my chair. All right, so that was today's project. Took me a couple hours, but done is done. Okay, well, that was my project for the day, hanging up those two plant shelves. It'll look nice once I get some greenery in there. I keep my karaoke machine over here, and I keep my printer over here. So this is my working corner, and I wanted to just spruce it up a little bit. And I've had these planters and the shelves for a long time, so I got an aha moment, and it was like, I wonder if those planters will fit on this shelf, and they do. So I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with this corner for a long time. So this is what I did, and I'm just going to have a sandwich for dinner tonight. I didn't cook ahead, and I don't feel like cooking. It's about dinner time, so I'm just going to have a sandwich. So alright, I don't want to make this video too long. So that's all I have for you today, my friends. So I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself, be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for watching.